I guess certain actors with certain experience also like bring a lot to the table, and it's not all on the director.
It's really fun to like, as soon as action's called, I'm just like in this moment where I'm like present, where I'm not usually present at all.
Such a funny moment, because he's meant to be this person of authority, and I just thought, no, this guy knows what he's doing when it comes to comedy, honestly.
Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm Jaco.
And I'm Kyllian.
And welcome back to Department Spotlight. It's the show where we talk to our friends and colleagues about their experiences in the film industry. And we've got our friends and colleagues here. So in this episode, we thought we'd talk about directing and being directed. So if you haven't checked out our recent short film, A Slice of Humble Pizza Pie, first of all, what are you doing? This is a threat. So I was acting in A Slice of Humble Pizza Pie. If you didn't see that and recognize that it was me, I'm Daniel Day-Lewis. I lose myself in my roles.
Me too.
And Jaco also directed me in Surface Tension, that short we made a while back.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't see the post. It's over there.
So yeah, we thought we'd talk about directing, being directed, and hopefully some tips, some sweet nugs can come out of that. And excuse
Chicken nugs.
Some
Chicken
sweet
nugs.
chicken nugs of knowledge.
That's what we mean. Chicken nugs.
I don't know why this is nugs, but for the listeners, we're rubbing our fingers together.
And apologies for the sound. Someone's cutting grass. Nothing we can do about it.
Grass, we're not sure what that noise is. People do.
But yeah.
Let's get into it. Okay, so I guess I am the person being interrogated today. Be like, why am I such a bad director? By the people that I've directed. Let's do this. Mark, why did you hate working with me?
Inconsiderate.
Shh, dude.
Over directs.
Dude.
Sorry, when you when you do
bad.
that, can you just do it properly? Like do it a little bit, spread your fingers a bit more. And then just so we can see, I'm joking for the podcast. Okay.
That was very good.
That was good. You should direct him.
It was funny. It was kind of an inside joke because we usually cut those things out. I direct these guys while we're doing the podcast sometimes, and I'm usually very rude. So that was the joke.
Yeah,
Jaco always tells me
and that extends to the film sense, you know.
Yeah.
This is actually why we decided to do this podcast, to air the grievances.
Yeah, it's actually very therapeutic for me and Mark to just discuss the pains we have.
And it's good for me to sit and listen at how bad I am.
Shh.
No, we are of course joking. Kyllian, what was your experience being directed by Jaco?
Dude, let me tell you. Jaco directed me in a small film, sense of the words, called Mugged. It is a 3-minute short where a guy gets mugged. And then I play a colored guy named Me. And all I do is listen to the story. And yeah, it's a pretty good film. You should check it out. It traveled a little bit. But yeah, the experience of being directed by Jaco, let me tell you. Firstly, he put me in a freezer for 10 minutes to make sure that I was cool enough for the role.
Sorry. What freezer would be able to fit you?
Do you see what I mean?
Cold as ice.
This is a weird okay, no, but in all honesty, yeah, I don't know, like I didn't really get much screen time, so it wasn't really being directed. I just said a bunch of lines very awkwardly.
That's not true. How I remember it is you did only like 2 or 3 takes of everything. It was really good. You were like,
thank you. Well,
you were very nervous, but
I was extremely nervous. It was shot in my house, in my lounge. So there's your Easter egg. I don't know if that is an Easter egg, but yeah, it's so weird acting. Like when you do it, you realize how hard that job is. Like I have mad respect because for me, I just felt like I was fumbling, but people enjoyed it. I thought it was awful. Jaco was an okay director. And I'm joking. Like it was tough on the day, but then when you see people enjoy it afterwards, you're like, yeah, he's a pretty competent director.
Thanks. That's another inside joke. Kyllian always says everything is competent. I always think competence is just okay, but Kyllian thinks competence means
It's my highest form of flattery because I believe I am incompetent.
which is not true. So
Yeah, so overall, my experience was very, very Yakui, I must say. I enjoyed it.
on a scale from 1 to Jaco.
I would put it as a just past a Maki, but on my way to Yakui. But yeah, it was cool, but I can't really say much. It was like one day's work. It wasn't really anything tough. I know for Mark's thing, it was pretty intense. He had a lot of lines. He had to work out while he was doing it. On that said, I remember when I ate that pizza that was on the floor as well. That was also part of the things that Jaco made me do as well.
No,
It was part of
no,
You
no.
chose to do that.
You just eating dirty pizza. It's just
sounds like the title of a movie, like the sequel to Licorice Pizza, Dirty Pizza.
dirty pizza.
Yeah, how was your experience with the Jackelmeister?
His face.
Well, it was the second time Jaco directed me. First time was in the pool for a lot of hours. It was good. I think we have a good shorthand. I think we have like a similar sense of humor. So I think you were able to. I think and that's a very good sort of thing of like getting to know your actors. I was thinking yesterday. When Pony Smasher was talking in his behind the scenes about directing Annabelle Creations, I think it is, and he met an actor like on the day.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that's wild. I would never be able to do that. Like, that's how do you know any at least like one conversation, right?
Yeah.
But they just showed up and then they
Wait,
just
so have you
immediately
not
started.
spoken to them or anything before? Like,
No, they were just cast in his movie, and because Annabelle Creations was sort of a lower budget than most Hollywood movies, they couldn't schedule her or afford her for rehearsals or anything.
what?
So she just had the script, and then she showed
On the
up
day of shooting?
on the day of shooting, and then they shot it.
I don't know how you do that. I really don't. Because
He's competent.
He is, I would go as far to say, is very competent.
Because how do you find any sort of nuance at all if it's just, or do you just have to shoot a lot of takes?
I think it's possible to speak like on the day, because like I remember when we were doing Birth of Karen, we were working with Lurie, and that was amazing. That was something that I co-directed with Nadia. But I guess certain actors with certain experience also like bring a lot to the table, and it's not all on the director. So I think it's possible. Obviously, it's not ideal. I would always like to do rehearsals and things.
I was thinking, yeah, it would probably be more tough if she wasn't like that good. But I think, like, yeah, it depends on the level of competency. No, but seriously, like, it depends on the level of like the actor's skill coming to the shoot. That can make it easier. But yeah, I don't think I've ever had an experience like that, and I don't know how I could handle it, but. Yeah, but I guess it's also kind of a learning experience, and I mean, it's also like a funny challenge. But I mean, not on such a big set where so much is to like you can risk so much. But I mean, like just to also like see your level of skills as a director, how that could work. But yeah, that sounds super scary. And
I don't mean from a point of like competency of the director or the actor. I just mean in terms of there's a certain way that an actor will likes to be directed. You know what I mean? Like maybe she does show up on the day, but she is the type of actor who likes to have long conversations. You know what I mean? Like, what are you supposed to do then? You just can't. You just have to shoot.
Yeah.
And then it's like while you're shooting, you have to figure out how you guys work with one another, which is like must be scary. Because I was thinking, while we're shooting Slice of Ham Pizza Pie, because we know each other so well, you're able to be like, say like one or two things, like the way I said a certain thing, you were able to like say like go more into that.
But I think from my experience, it was actually quite different because for me, like I said, it's like I had like one or two couple of lines, but when I watched Jaco direct the other actors, like, I think what came across clear, I don't mean to praise you too much, but on that day, like, I could see, like, Jaco, you can always see when he's directing, there is a particular vision that you can always see his vision. Like, I remember the scene where you, like, because comedy is hard, and that's, like, the one thing that you like doing, and there was a scene where they had to, like, play the drums out and stuff, and I was like, how are they going to do this? And then you, like, directed it, and I was like, you sure you don't want to get the shot? You're like, no, I know what, and I see where this is going. And, like I can kind of see it, and I'm like, wow, this guy really knows what's going to happen at the end or towards the edit. And when you watch the final thing, you're like, you can really see that you know that you had a vision. And I think that helps a lot. But other than that, you suck quite a bit.
Thanks. Yeah. Always important. Don't boost my ego too much, please. No, but I think what helps with Mark specifically was we also write together. We wrote both Surface Tension and Pizza Pie together. So it was sort of easy to just be like, no, but remember we spoke about this. Because we didn't really do rehearsals for Pizza Pie. But then because we wrote it together, I remember we spoke about it being this kind of thing. And I think, like, even speaking about Mugged, I hadn't worked with...
Wasn't that on the day?
Yeah, that was also on the day. Yeah. So I hadn't met Matthew before shooting Mugged as well. We literally picked him up at his house, drove to Pretoria... and we shot the thing.
Yeah, so you had the same experience basically, kind of.
But I used the drive over there to, like, get to know him a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you can always, like, actors are very talkative usually. So it's easy to, like, just ask them questions and then like, oh, okay, cool. So you like talking about this kind of thing. Yeah. So you like that kind of thing. And then I just sort of, like, figure it out as we go along. I mean, you don't really have a choice.
Yeah, you know? I think it worked really well as well. Like, it was like everyone felt fresh on the day and stuff. But even with Mark, your scene, like, I know we did a couple of takes. I know you were also very nervous. Like, I could see on the day, like, you were very much, like, in your world trying to make sure you kept the lines and all of that. And I also thought that you took the direction really well. But what was your experience like having to, like, act for such a long period of time, that kind of scene? And, like, even your prior stuff, like Surface Tension, like, what is it like to be on that side? Or things like the nerves and, like, what get you through it?
It's fun. It's really fun because you stress about it a lot before, because I just stress about everything just in general. But then this really cool thing happens when, like, I remember one specific thing with Pizza Pie that, like, will explain this point is I open the door and I've got the slice of pizza in my hand and the controller, but I have to take the pizza, and I was thinking, like, just before we were shooting, I was like, how am I going to take the pizza? And then I was just thinking, like, let me just not think about it at all and just see what happens in the moment, and then if it's bad, we can just do it again, you know what I mean? And I know that you wouldn't be mad if we just something happened and then we just did it again, you know?
And that was amazing, because I remember us shooting that the first time, and I hadn't, like, we shot the first rehearsal, if that makes sense. We just spoke about how it's going to go briefly, and then let's just do the take. And then I remember when you threw that slice on the box, I just, like, had to stop myself from, like, laughing, because I was like, oh, that's so funny. And it really was funny because, like, yeah, this dude's he's the kind of arrogant dude who just, like, chucks the pizza on top of the other pizza. So good.
And I didn't know that I was going to do that until it happened.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, like, can I throw it over my shoulder or whatever? And I was like, no, I'm just going to figure out, like, as it happens, which I never do in my life.
Yeah.
So it's really fun to, like, as soon as action's called, I'm just, like, in this moment where I'm, like, present, where I'm not usually present at all. Ever. And it was nice because I knew that I could do something like that, because in Surface Tension, we were also offering up a lot of, like, suggestions of, like, how to say a line, or I've got something, or, like, try it like this, which is a really nice space to have. As I say, I haven't been directed by anyone else besides Jaco, so I'm probably going to go and have an experience and be like, wow, that was bad. Like,
no, it's more likely you're going to be like, oh, that's what it's supposed to be.
That's what a good director is.
That's a good director.
I disagree.
I mean,
what's really nice seeing you direct is, and what inspires a lot of confidence is, when I ask you something, you don't immediately say something, right? You think about what I've said, and then you think about the entirety, think about who else is in the scene, and you could say anything after that point. But what's really comforting is that I'm seeing you process what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Instead of just like immediately like blurting it out, I know you're considering everything. So what you say afterwards, I'm going to like internalize more, because it's like he's thought this through, you know.
Okay.
Which is like, if
I didn't know I did that.
If you have like a conversation with someone and they do the same thing, there's gonna be that same like assurance, you know.
Okay, cool.
Okay, time for some trash talking now.
yeah, you better knock me down. So yeah, I'm not attached to dialogue, because I like giving the actors that as well to just play with, and because everybody brings their own experience, doesn't matter if it's on set experience or just life experience. And you know, it's like when you're in the scene, you talk differently because you become that person a little bit. I mean, obviously, even if you're not a method actor, I feel like you still do become a character, and it's always like whatever comes out of you is probably the most natural thing. I'm just writing sort of from a
framework.
Yeah. So yeah, I try to not be as strict with dialogue, as long as it gets the same point across.
Yeah, Mark, I think it's about time we start directing Jaco now as well, and start putting him in some comedy situations.
I don't want to act though. I don't want to.
But yeah, no, like I said, from my side as well, I don't know, I felt so comfortable with it, especially like afterwards in the film travels. I felt like maybe I could be in some more things, you know, maybe you gave me a spark or some more things I could act. So yeah, I think I agree with Mark where Jaco like allows you to be kind of present in the thing, because I was actually surprised when you said like you enjoy getting like different feedback and stuff, because I thought that you would be like the kind of person that on the day you'd be like, no, I want to do it this certain way because this is how I rehearse it and stuff, and then when someone brings it out, it gives you like a massive amount of anxiety. Because I know for myself, like, because I have zero like experience in acting, I would need like, because I would feel like I would need to do it this way because this is the way I practice it, because I'm not good at this. So if I improvise, is it bad, whatever. But then Jaco, like after the take, I'd be like, so, because he'd give the direction, like after I like said this is how I want to do it, and then he gives the direction. I was like, how was it? It's like, no, that was actually good. And you watch the take, you're like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, no, that note, like you can step outside your comfort zone.
I think it's important to say that it's not just me. I didn't come up with these things on my own. Just been watching, obviously. These guys direct as well, and YouTube videos and stuff. So
yeah, I remember I was once in like a friend of mine's film as well, and I had to play like someone that was deaf, and I had to do like sign language and stuff, and the direction was not as good. I'm sorry for my friends watching this, but you know that movie, you see. But you all know that because that one was a bit more like I didn't get any research. Like it just said, okay, now I want you to do this and this. It's like, but this is a whole like group of people. I don't want to disrespect them and all of that. So that was really tough, and that wasn't best experience. And that came across on camera that it wasn't well researched and stuff like that. And so yeah, I felt like I was in good hands with Jaco. But sometimes, you know, Jaco, he can just lock you in a room and just give you like one line of dialogue and say, yeah, prepare this in the darkness. Give me 90 different variations. Okay, now play it as Tom Hanks buying ice cream. No, I'm joking. It was amazing.
Thanks.
And I'm looking forward to directing both. I haven't directed Mark at all in anything. But that's because I am extremely scared of comedy. I don't know how you guys write comedy. And it's weird because I like being funny in real life, but when it comes to comedy, I will write something. I'm like, that's horrible. That's the worst line. That's why I try to stick to things that's more like kind of scary on screen, or like kind of shocks you when you look at it. Because I'm so scared of doing something that's like, how do you guys like find like writing comedy? Like, what's the process for that? Like, and then how do you know how you want to direct it, especially, you know? Like, what's your references?
Just write jokes until you both laugh. and then if one of you says, do you think this is funny? You just say, well, we were laughing, so
Yeah, it's
it's probably funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've never written. I mean, I haven't written many things alone, but I have never written a comedy alone. I don't think that's
Possible.
maybe it's
yeah.
probably possible, but I don't know. I
That
don't know.
must be hard.
It must be so hard.
But
Because it's exactly what you're saying. Like, how do you know it's actually funny?
Yeah, because I was going to ask you in terms of directing it, like, how do you know what shots to use and like how to frame something for comedy? Is there particular things, or do you like just kind of watch something that's like watch the movie that's referencing it, or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I mean, obviously, I check specific things for specific movies, but usually it's like if there's a comedy thing and it's far away, it's like, okay, we're gonna do a crash scene, we're not gonna cut, but it's like just adding things that are funny, like accentuating the moment with special shots. I think that's all. That's the only thing. Like, we got a close up of the pizza going onto the box that Mark did, even though it wasn't scripted and wasn't planned. We're like, oh, that's hilarious. Let's get a close up of that.
Yeah.
So I think it's. I mean, directing comedy for me is just making it as silly as possible with the camera while the actors are trying to be as what's the word?
Funny.
Like serious.
Yeah. Kind of serious, but not serious, but just like deadpan.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, just like
I think a best
You gotta
example. Yeah.
play the truth of it, right? You can't just like, if you play into the silliness, then it's like, I don't feel like it comes out like as funny.
yeah, if you're trying to, if the actor's trying to be
Yeah, because
funny.
it feels like they're trying to be funny. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like none of your direction, I feel like could be applied to a drama. You know what I mean? Like, it's not comedy specific, and I don't think it should be comedy specific. It's usually more about finding about like what's like the sort of truth about the situation, because at the core of it, if it's written funny or if the situation's funny, it's going to be funnier, and it's the most funniest if you find like the absolute truth of it, you know,
Yeah.
which is like how ridiculous this guy is, or you know what I mean.
Even the intro of the
That's what I
first
was thinking
scene
about. That's
is
what I was
like
thinking.
close-ups on your mouth and
Exactly.
close-ups on the like extreme sport and you know that little robot toy
Yeah.
that you have there. It's like, but you're not laughing. You know, you're like super serious
No,
about
but
this joke.
exactly what I was going to say about that, like in terms of directing Mark in that scene, that was for me so funny is that it's these extreme close-ups and it's like super serious, you know, and it's like
Yeah.
it's serious in the moment and there's a sweat dripping, and then it just cuts this wide of Mark skipping, and like you said, it's not you trying to be funny, like that's just like it's a normal shot,
Yeah.
and you're trying to show the moment, but then Mark's just like doing
Exactly.
skipping, and then the humor from that comes through in just that shot.
The
you
humor
know?
comes from the absurdity.
Yeah, exactly, and it's like coming from all these hardcore close-ups, like an action kind of film, and then just cutting to this wide of Mark just skipping, and then I thought that was amazing. That was like one of my favorite parts of the short, which you guys should be watching or listening to on the podcast.
Don't listen to it.
Don't just listen to it.
It's also a radio film.
No, you're gonna miss because there's a large section where they're just running, and that's just like
Yeah, but then I'll just have a piece of me just saying, and now they're running.
audio subtitles.
Yeah, but I thought that was really great, like direction, because that's the thing for me is like I always like when I watch like directors like Taika Waititi and stuff when they do like what's that thing called where they like have a frame in and they're talking about how they
Oh,
explain
the breakdown.
the breakdown. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like watching Taika Waititi break down like a scene from Thor, and he was talking about how like a two-shot saying serious things will always bring out the comedy in certain moments and stuff. But for me, it's always so hard to like see, okay, what shot does this? But like Mark said now that
I mean, sorry. Speaking about Taika Waititi, if you look at Jojo Rabbit, one of the funniest moments is when the two boys are in the street and he sees Jockey? What's his name? He sees the kid with the black hair, and he's like running around with a gun. There's a freaking bazooka going off behind him, and it's like this super serious situation. And he goes, "It's not a very good time to be a Nazi," but like super serious, and it's like that's hilarious just because it's a serious moment played in the absurdity of it.
yeah.
So I think that's where.
And yeah, that movie does a lot of like. There's even there's just that one like it's just a static wide shot also where Jojo's trying to learn how to throw a knife, and then it's just bounces. And it's not like a movie shot or anything, but it's just I don't know. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
But
really
if you
well
think
done.
about, Taika Waititi is like such a good example. What are all of his movies about at like the core of them? not very funny things at all.
Yeah.
Like even what we do in the shadows has got some like incredibly like sad
Dark stuff as well.
moments, you know.
And even that other film, Into the Wilderness, what's it?
Hunt for the Wilder People.
Hunt for the Wilder People. That was also like some
Yeah, it's
hardcore
about
themes.
like what the child welfare. That's about child welfare services in New Zealand. Like, that's not a funny topic
at all. And then you just see how he plays, and that movie was also so well directed. I mean, even the scene that was the one with he's in the church, and it's also like something so absurd that a pastor is saying, but it's such a funny moment because he's meant to be this person of authority, and I just thought, nah, this guy knows what he's doing when it comes to comedy, honestly. So yeah, I don't know. I think I still need a bit more experience to try and direct that, to try and do comedy.
You
but
just need to do it. You just haven't
yeah, I
done
think
it.
I need to do my first one now. So
So to summarize this, it's not always bad working with your friends. But I think, it's definitely, I mean, I've learned a lot. Every actor that I work with, I learn more because it's like, because you're both trying to say something, right? Their face is on the screen. It's not just the director doing the thing. It's what are you guys trying to say together, and then how do you communicate that? And every act is different. So it's cool to get some feedback. I've never really gotten feedback from an actor, but it's very cool to hear that, and it's I don't want the idea to be like, oh, Jaco's so good.
actually, I wanted to actually just touch on that a little bit, on just not necessarily anything that's negative or anything, but I know in the beginning you said that now people think you can be rude and stuff on set, or like when you give direction sometimes. But I think that also for me brings a level of comfort. I don't think it's Jaco being rude. I think it's kind of someone trying to stick to the vision, or to try to keep things on a certain level, like not necessarily being rude, but when he's like, okay guys, let's get serious now, okay guys, like, where he's giving something, like, especially even with us in podcasts, it's the thing you need to keep the thing like straight, because if you never did that, we'd probably go on tangents, or even on set things would go in a different direction. So it's not necessarily being rude, but it's just trying to be like, make sure that the end product's quality, you know what I mean? And I think so sometimes when people, if like other actors on set, when they see that, or if other like members or crew members see the directors kind of being a bit snippy sometimes, it's not necessarily anything personal. It's just kind of sticking to what the end product needs to be, and just having the film or the project in their mind sometimes. So I wouldn't say that you're rude, man, like you said in the beginning. I think it's just sometimes comforting to know that, okay, it's someone that's just trying to stick onto the quality of what this needs to be, or just keeping an eye out on time or something like that, you know? So
Who said that you're rude? Did you say that you're rude?
I said I was rude, yeah. I was making a joke, but...
Yeah, I was talking about, like, also sometimes in podcasts, like, and stuff like that, but I'm, like if you're saying, like, we need to do something...
No, but I mean, I think anyone who is, like, a part of the thing that's being made is able to see that, like, in context, right?
Yeah.
And in context, it's not rude at all. It's like...
Exactly.
It's
So that's what I'm saying,
And
for,
you
like,
know-
other actors, if they experience that, or directors... Okay, maybe some directors might be super rude, but
I mean-
sometimes if you see that on set in particular, it's just someone being aware of the project, you know?
Yeah, I think it's easy to seem rude as the director because you're so demanding all the time, right? And everybody has to like adapt to what you want.
Yeah.
But I think, and I think I did have a not a problem, but I didn't really know how to handle that when I did my first movie, and like that was a long shoot, and like people were getting tired, and but ever since then I've tried to like be strict when it needs to be, but then when we have lunch or whatever, like out there making jokes or whatever.
Yeah. And I think also that's why you need the buffer of an AD, so that he can take the brunt of all that scheduling and all the hard stuff, so that the director can now and then be friendly with the cast and
Yeah.
can have that leeway. Because I feel like that is one of the main jobs for an AD, is just to take those bullets for
Yeah.
you know that? I
He's
mean,
a-
I mean, that's why being an AD is also not for everyone. It's a very particular kind of job. And I think that's why it's very important. So I don't know if I was ever helpful in trying to take the brunt of some
yeah.
of that for you, but I feel like that's why it's so that the director can just keep the relationships with the crew. and
No, what
cast,
you're
you know?
saying is very true. Every time I'm directing, like you, assistant director, you're ADing, it helps because then I do spend a lot more time with the crew the cast between shots, and then you come through and you're like, okay guys, we need to, and then I'm like, okay, cool, let's get back to it. So I think that does help a lot. So thank you for being the bad guy.
Managed to sneak in a compliment. But yeah, I think that's all I gotta say about that.
Thus ends the roast of Jaco. Thus ends the praise of Jaco.
Thus ends the discussion of Jaco's directorial standpoint on most of his comedy projects, and thusly concluding our thesis upon the matter.
Henceforth.
I just need that Winnie the Pooh suit now with the monocle. Thank you so much.
Cool, yeah, so we can wrap it up there. Last thoughts? No? Nothing?
Good
Going
director,
once?
man.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Awful director, man.
Thank you. No, thanks, I appreciate that. Cool, guys, so if you enjoyed this chat, please feel free to share it with your friend. I hope you got something from it. If you did, and you would like to keep up with everything that we do, hit the subscribe button. It's a big red button. It when you press it, it either goes like a gray or like a dark gray. I don't know, whatever.
It's one of the grays.
Whatever you're watching it on, phone, computer, just press the red button. It you will get nothing except good times when you watch our videos. Yes.
I endorse this message.
And if you like listening to me ramble, press like.
And if you don't, press the upside down dislike button. It looks like this.
Yeah, we don't care that you press the dislike button anymore because nobody can see it. So joke's on you.
Don't press it.
And leave a comment if you'd like to listen to us talking about anything else. Please leave the comment down there. But until next time, go out there, stay safe,
and make your movie.